Hello, guys.
Hi.
Oh my gosh. This was my favorite week so far.
Me too. Me too. I just loved so much of this. Everyone really sat into who they are and their dances, and oh my gosh, it was just so good.
It was fun.
It was breaking point week for sure.
I know. Although we'll get into who went home later, but I was surprised. Not who I saw coming or being voting home.
But we talked about that a lot last week about how now it's crunch time and it's gonna happen. There's gonna be a lot of those surprises coming.
Don't mind, guys, while I eat my dinner on this.
All good. It's all good. Eat, and let's talk. So let's start off. Do you want to mention anything about the opening number?
So it was choreographed by Jenna, which was really cool. So that was so a fun little thing, especially because she hasn't gotten to be there because she's pregnant, and but still be able to be a part of it. And then she appeared later on in Vale's and Gabby's package, and so it just was oh, that's so awesome, still part of everything. But it was a fun song. It was a great way to open it. So yeah,
a great way to introduce the night. Great way for us to get to see Michael Buble in action, starting us right off the bat. So that was great. All right, starting right off at the very top, which I was very surprised to see them go first, but I was very excited about it. It's starting right at the very top. So we started with Shangela and Gleb and their tango.
Best dance so far that they've had. Also, I love that they went first because since she can perform like nobody else, it made everybody else performance-wise step up, and especially for Michael Buble night and his songs, their big band style, that huge performance. You think of the numbers, it reminds me of La La Land type thing, that musical old school music. So that performance piece, it was needed, and it was the perfect person to open it up.
Yes, I totally agree. Like I said, I was not sure the order of everything, and I don't ever like to look at the order. I like to be surprised by who comes up at each part. And yeah, so when she said Shangela and Gleb were starting us off, I was like, okay, that's definitely a bar setter. And I was very excited. So, I really loved everything that they put out on that floor. The improvement is impeccable. I love to see that. Now, my last thing is especially towards the end, some of those turns, we're getting a little bit on the wobbly side. It's now, it comes down to that core. We focus so much on that frame and on our feet and everything, but that core
was really
and tightening those legs up is going to really help to make those turns stick and keep her right in this game.
I said for them, I still just want it just a hair sharper.
I agree.
It's that attack piece again. And I will say, I love Michael Bublé's music, but it didn't fit to me a tango in that song. I thought it was more of a foxtrot song.
Yeah, I thought it was okay though. I mean, I think of all of his songs, I think it's one of the ones that kind of fits a tango a little bit. I do agree. I think a foxtrot would have been a better fit, but I think they're trying to get various styles in here, and there were so many other foxtrots that, I do think that the tango worked out okay for them. But I agree, it could have been a little more tango-y.
Can we just talk about the fried chicken?
What was that? Okay, I'm all for taking one bite and going with it. But Miss Tyra, you are hosting a show, my dear. We try to teach little kids not to talk with their mouths full, and you just went right in and just
I thought it was hilarious, and I died laughing.
I did too, up until that last bite, and then I was like, oh, Tyra, dear, come on. Listen, as long as it was good, more power to her.
But it was, I don't know, and it just, the fact that she pulled it out and was like, are my legs crispy?
And then pulled out a second one.
Yeah, and then she had the second one. Oh my gosh, it was fantastic. Loved it.
I know
that's like the perfect time to say it's live television and you never know what to expect.
Yeah, definitely. But yes, no, it was hilarious. And the judges certainly gave her the praise that I think she deserved. So
Yes.
yeah. All right, moving on. Let's move to Trevor and Emma, who had our first foxtrot of the night.
I
How did you
also
feel?
said best dance for him. Like it was a lot of best dances tonight, which was awesome. I said his frame was really good. Um, he does tend to stick his butt out a little bit, just a tad,
Yeah.
but it'll come with time. But I also felt though his transitions were
So much
so
better,
much
right?
better. So much better. Like you could feel that connection into each move. And then I also said I saw him leading for the first time.
Yes, so much, so much. And the arms were truly beautiful throughout the whole thing, which is such a great improvement. I think it's now kind of watching those toes and the feet a little bit.
Mhm.
And I did notice a couple of times where he got into frame and then quickly adjusted himself.
Mhm.
So it was like, he was kind of here and then he was like, oh, oh,
He
oh,
caught himself.
it definitely caught himself, which is perfect.
Right.
That's exactly what you want to see. And it gives you that great improvement. The fact that he is now recognizing where that arm fits and where it should be versus where it is at the very start. So
Mhm.
such a great improvement. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
It was funny though, because the one thing I expected Michael Buble to be giving out always kind of like a higher score.
Yeah, he held
I,
his own.
he did. A lot of times though, I think it was Derek, what are you giving? And then it would be very similar to what Derek gave.
Which is okay. You
Mhm.
don't want a guest judge in there because if that happens and he's overscoring just because he's a guest judge, they're not going to want guest judges. People
Mhm.
are going to be like, well, they don't help the competition at all because they just give out tens to everybody. So I think overall he held his own. And like I said, I don't know if it was so much of a like, Len, Derek, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Or if it truly was more of what he felt, because there were certainly moments where he
Mhm.
was a point higher than some
Mhm.
of them, and that was okay. But yeah, you have to keep that level of expertise, that level of point system,
That consistency across the
and
board.
that consistency. Yes, definitely.
And
All
then
right, moving on. Gabby
Gabby
and
and Val.
Val had our Rupa.
Yeah. To me, it felt stiff. It was good, but
Mhm.
it wasn't her best dance, especially after the last like the last week,
2 weeks,
two
yeah.
dances, and I can't remember if I really liked the week before or not. They're all blending together now. But compared to what she had last week, like she was real like we were talking about, she was getting the attack finally and like stepping up her game. And like this one just wasn't there. I know struggled probably with the bent knees a little bit and the hip motion of that, and it made it a little bit more stiff. And I know she was working on the character of her sexy pose and her sexy face and
You're just so
like
not easy.
right, especially it's awkward when like someone's married and you're trying to. I loved it. She's like, I'm third wheeling this whole week.
I know. Definitely a different vibe. Those transitions were, like you said, just not as strong. And I felt like I needed more flow as
Mhm.
the detail, as those in the moments, because the in the moments were great. And then the moments surrounding those in moments, I needed more flow between them. That grounding is really gonna help. And yeah, not that it felt too flat, but it just felt a little flat for me.
Mhm.
So yeah. So like I said, we kind of reached a little bit of a peak and now we kind of did a tiny dip. So I'm hoping next week we'll pop right back up there. And
But a setback is always ready for you to make a comeback.
yes, exactly. So that's why I'm hoping next week will be that, Halloween. Halloween gives us so much energy. Halloween gives us exactly what we need to be strong and powerful and do all of these things. And I think it's exactly what she's going to need to really shine.
I'm so excited for Halloween night.
I know. I'm going to check it out a little late. And then I guess that's a real good segue, real fast, to just mention next week are going to take the time off because I'm not here.
Do
Of
we
course,
want
you
to
can do
do
it by
that?
yourself if you really feel like it.
Or do we get a guest host next week?
Yes.
We'll talk
Maybe.
more.
Okay.
Next
Can't
week to be determined.
Sounds good. All right, let's keep going. Coco and Vinny did a cha-cha.
For him, it was a very good dance. But
Yeah, it was a little marchy, but I mean, overall,
I
and I
said
know his
flat-footed, which
counting.
is what I think you mean by marchy.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Um, you know, he's Vinny. People
I
love
know.
him.
I know, and the counting was so distracting watching.
I wrote that. I said he's literally like counting or
1, 2, 3, cha cha cha.
or like saying the moves at times. And I was laughing at that, but I was like,
But he had so much fun. And you know what? The fun and the way that he is incorporating that crowd is nothing like we've ever really seen before in a contender that has his skill level,
he reminds me
other
of
than Bobby Bones.
Bobby Bones and Jerry Springer.
Yes, very much so.
When Jerry Springer was on it, like every year, he was like, or every week, he was like, I'm going home. Nope, no, you're not.
Yeah,
then, and Bobby Bones took it all the way to the end. He was that underdog. Although with some of our contestants, if Vinny takes this to the end, I don't know how I will feel about that. Like, I'm so happy he's there and he's having a blast dancing, but there are so many more stronger contenders that.
Okay, let me ask you this question. How, since the bottom two is not necessarily the bottom two, how do the producers decide the other person?
The bottom two are the bottom two.
They are 100% the bottom two.
Yes, they are the bottom two because they have to follow the competition laws that.
Got it.
Whatever.
I wasn't sure if they were actual bottom two or if they were like, if it was like a random throw in there. I really wasn't sure. I figured I would ask. I knew you would know.
The bottom, because they have to follow, I don't know, there's a company type
Got it. Makes sense.
That they have to follow because otherwise they're not meeting the competition, and then the whole competition could be disqualified, and that would be a whole like huge thing on Disney.
Right. Makes
so
sense.
it is the bottom two for voting, but not necessarily the bottom person is going home.
Right.
Because then the judges pick who's going home.
Correct. Which I like having that.
I do too.
It does give the option from the professionals instead of it falling completely to the votes. So I don't know, we'll see, but he had so much fun and that is so important. Okay, let's move on. Jordan and Brandon, who also did a foxtrot for us. What do you think?
I loved it. Best dance for her too. I said it felt like an old movie, and her costume, her performance, she has it. It's perfect. Her shoulders inch up just a little bit, especially that left one. But and I know the judges are really picky on her one arm that's not always in hold occasionally, but overall though, I would
her frame has gotten so much better.
I wanted all 9s.
I know, I did too.
So like I know Len and Derek gave her 8s, but I was like, I want 9s for that.
And even like, her feet were beautiful, like truly.
And she looked up like
so
almost 90% of that dance.
It was great. I thoroughly loved it. I, like I said, was hoping for straight 9s for her. Maybe Halloween week will be the week. I'm hoping. She's improved a lot. Okay, Charlie and Mark, who gave us another foxtrot. See why the tango was good earlier?
Wanna in between here have a conversation about the pro number?
Sure.
Before we get, because Charlie and Mark followed up the pro.
Yes, they did follow it. I forgot where that fell in. Yeah, I literally showed it to my husband and I was like, you need to watch this because it is jaw-dropping. It is phenomenal. I
love that song.
Extraordinary.
I know that song very, very well at this point.
I know you do.
But that song, like, it's such a great dance number. So
everything, the instrumentation, the way that it moves and it grooves, and oh my gosh, it's just so good.
There's one part at the end where all the pros were dancing, and I was so excited because that they had the extra drums, and I was like, I heard that back in September.
It was so fantastic. Oh my gosh.
Like,
Derek is a genius in so many ways.
and he said that he like pushed himself on this one. Like he like really pushed the limit for this, and like you could tell. And I was like, whatever he puts on stage is just incredible.
Magical. Yeah. His poor fiance having to do all those flippy turnies, beautiful
The
leggies.
The
Like,
one
oh my
move
gosh.
where Haley was upside down and did like
And
a
walking.
walk, that was like incredible.
I'm talking about the ice skater spin at the end where he like tossed her.
Oh,
and
like
she went,
tossed
and
and
then
like
she
she
ran
landed.
into like a, oh my, I was like, what did I just watch?
Mhm.
It was great. Absolutely brilliant. So yes, good call. All right. Anything else?
The only thing is I could say is the only people that could follow that number was Mark and Charlie. So
Yes,
I was like,
100%.
that was a very smart decision that they put them there.
Yes, absolutely. So speaking of Charlie and Mark and their foxtrot thoughts, what do you think?
Perfect.
It was absolutely
I don't know what
beautiful.
it was. Stunning. It told the story. It was elegant. She had sway, her frame, her rise and fall.
Her neck was not stiff. Like I feel like last time we had to do anything in a major hold, it felt like there was something around her neck and it was so tight. It
Mhm.
was just perfect. The angle was beautiful. Oh my gosh.
All
Loved it.
times.
Nothing else to it. All right, moving on to Mama Heidi and Artem, who did a samba.
It was good. I just feel like some of her things are so slow.
Yes, that, and I needed those lines to be finished. Like I felt like there were so many that were just cut short from moving from one to the next that we don't finish every line. But I mean it looked beautiful and I agree. I think Artem's got a little more in there choreography wise that he could give her. I think she can handle it. I really am hoping to see a next level dance next week.
I'll be interested because Derek said, try making a sound. And anytime I see the Dancing with the Stars shows, I've seen the Derek on tour, Move on tour. They all make like, ha, yeah, and like sound effects while they're dancing, and it like brings up that energy. So I'll be interested because sometimes you have to be in the right mindset for that because otherwise it could feel really weird to you.
Mhm.
You have to be willing to make yourself almost feel stupid.
Yes.
And it's not that you are, it's just you'll feel ridiculous, but it's going to help you.
Right. But voice connection brings us all the way down here, right to our diaphragm. It connects us to our core. So I 100% see where he's coming from. I mean, that's why singers are considered, in my opinion, athletes because they are using so much of their core in order to create that vocal production. And dancers should use it too, especially if you need that extra core strength or you need that energy. It's an easy way to get it.
Absolutely.
So I will be very excited to see what they have in store. But like I said, I'm hoping he challenges her a little bit more because I think she can handle it. So, all right, let's go to Wayne and Whitney.
I was so nervous this week. You and I were texting because Whitney posted online, went to Cancun. We were supposed to be rehearsing with Wayne and something happened and it will all be revealed on Monday. And I was like, is he dropping out? Like I was so nervous.
And then I thought COVID. I was like, oh my gosh.
I really thought it was
skip
COVID
a
at
week.
first.
Oh my gosh. Well, thankful it was not COVID. It was a stomach bug and exhaustion, which then knocked Wayne out pretty good up until Friday. So he missed way too many days of rehearsal. I do think it showed a lot. I think the fact that they threw him into the bottom three, I'm going to say, because I'm assuming he was not in that bottom three, but just the fact that they left him out there as long as they did, I almost feel like was a way of saying like, listen, you are here, you are doing this, do not travel, do not go places, do this and then you can do other things. It's like
Mhm.
you committed to do this. And I know he is so committed, but I feel like that was their way of being like, we need a little bit more. We need that solid commitment to be a part of this. They did a quick step and I love how his face never showed when he messed up, which is
Mhm.
so important. But there were feet off in various places. His
It
frame
was
was
his
gorgeous.
timing.
No
His
surprise.
timing was his main
Timing
issue.
really off.
Just hearing
Yeah,
that music between Whitney and him. Now,
right.
but I have to say, for even the scores that he got, shows how much of a like performer he is.
Oh my goodness. Like I said, if you were not technically trained in any way, shape, or form, his face never once showed that he messed up. So if you're just watching him have fun, you would have never probably recognized that there was anything wrong. And yeah, and like you said, that just comes down to his showmanship. He's truly a showman,
Yeah.
and sticks with it really well. So I'm not really docking him any bit because he put himself in and found himself, not really put himself, but he found himself in a very difficult situation. And I think he did as best as he could for a 50-something-year-old man. And that's it.
I'm so happy though he didn't go home because I was so
Me
nervous
too.
he was going to end up in the bottom. Because I love Wayne personally. I think he's one of the best.
I do too.
And with the proper rehearsal time, it's fine.
He's
But
unstoppable.
exactly. So I'm glad that now things will go back to normal, hopefully. And
Yes.
we'll get to see a beautiful performance for Halloween next week.
Yes, so looking forward to it, Wayne. So looking forward to it. Okay, so next, do you want to go to Daniel and Britt?
Okay. Yeah. So Daniel and Britt,
Foxtrot.
I was really mad with these scores.
I
want
totally
double
agree.
nines.
Some parts were so strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a few parts that kind of waned a little bit, but
Like
so strong.
beautiful lines. He had really good frame, I thought, overall. And then like, yeah, his shoulders, I noticed his shoulders a lot.
They inch up. Yeah.
But if you think about that, because when you are signing, you use your shoulders as part of your expression.
Very.
So to me, it's probably harder even for him to like the shoulders have to stay down because that's the shoulders are part of how you show your emotion. So
Yes.
I think that's even trickier.
I love Britt's take on it this week of really honing in on
Mhm.
the words, the lyrics, and then taking it that next step of teaching, because I do think and feel like that is a next step, a next level teaching for
I loved how
someone like
he,
him. And
from that, he was able to interpret the music.
yeah,
It's
right.
fantastic.
And it was a great song choice for him. Truly,
Mhm.
truly great song choice. So yeah, I'm definitely excited to see them next week. I think Halloween music has a lot of rhythm, a lot of beat, depending on the song that he gets. And so I'm really excited to see how that all pans out and gives him hopefully some really solid strength to work with.
Yes. And
So,
then last but not least,
so for anyone that
Alan-
didn't watch, that doesn't know, Alan and Jesse went home. They were in the bottom two with Trevor and Emma, who
I
were ultimately saved.
I really thought Trevor and Emma were gonna go home.
I know you did. I was feeling Jessie. And you know what? It's so funny because she is so wonderful. And she was just, for anyone that didn't watch, her literal first response was, at least now I get to take my kids trick or treating,
Mhm.
which is just so like such a humble way, to take that and, take what happens and turn it into a positive.
Well, see,
And she's just great.
my thought process on why I thought Trevor was going home was not because I agree. I think Trevor's had more growth than Jesse overall. So I can see where they're saying, okay, Trevor's the better dancer. I agree. But because Trevor has been in the bottom two before, sometimes the judges have to take that into consideration that somehow the contestant isn't connecting to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes the judges say, well, we saved you once before, now it's your turn because you're not finding that connection piece. So
Right. And while I agree with that, I think the dilemma with that is last week, may have potentially put Alan and Jesse in the bottom had their scores been the only thing and they had not won the competition.
Mm-hmm.
But because they had won the dance competition, it gave them so many extra points to stick ahead. I think we would have seen them in the bottom two maybe last week instead of Heidi and Artem.
That's a true
And
point.
and I think that's really what did it. So that's kind of where I was coming from it is, yes, do not get me wrong. You cannot take that away from them on prom night in winning that competition. They deserved it. However, if we're looking at scores without that being factored in, I think we would have seen her in the bottom two instead of Heidi. So that's kind of where I'm coming
Very
from.
good point that I did not think
So
like
that was
that.
my thought. Like I said, I'm not degrading it at all. Her growth was so amazing. And I
Mhm.
am, as a country, singer, a country fanatic myself, I was so proud of her to see everything that she brought forth and really brought herself out of her comfort zone. And I'm so sad to see her go home. But at the same time, I'm excited for her to be able to spend Halloween with her kids because I'm sure they are going to be very appreciative of having mom back home.
At this point, it's hard to see anybody go just because now we're all starting to like grow connections to each contestant in a different way. Like, I'll be sad when Vinny goes home. You know what I mean? Like, he has
Yes.
the lowest scores technically, but like, we've gotten to know him. Week
Yes.
one,
He's been
it's kind
such a
of
joy.
like week one. I know it was Peta's partner. Can't remember who her contestant partner was. Uh-huh. Right. But we didn't get to connect and have that connection. So that's why it's hard because we haven't gotten to know their personalities.
Yes.
So
And once you
now
do
at
get to
this
learn
point,
more,
we know every single one. So it's hard to let any of them go.
definitely, definitely. And it's only going to get harder. It's only going to get worse because, like I said, you really get to know them. And it happens every year. It's just normal. It's just so normal for us to just get attached to these celebrities. I do think it's why we see them a lot more after Dancing with the Stars is done, because I think producers get to see them in various forms and, they get to see how they come to life when they are performing. And I think it's why we get to see them more always after the fact. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know. It's nonetheless gonna happen. Is there an elimination on Halloween night? Yes.
Depends. Usually,
Usually no, right?
well, there has been, but I will be kind of surprised if there is an elimination because it's actually on Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
We've never really had a Halloween night on Halloween,
Yeah, it doesn't
or
usually.
at least it
Yeah.
hasn't happened in a while.
Yeah, because I always feel like they don't do on Halloween night. They don't get rid of anybody, but I don't know.
It'll be
We'll
interesting
see.
because I'm so excited for teams because they're bringing back
Yes,
team dances.
yes,
I don't
that's
think
a
the
great
last
point.
team dances were the year of Derek and Bindi, I think.
Mm-hmm. It's been a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I will be very eager to see A, how they split them up, and B, how they all work together, because that is always a big challenge. And always fun to see. So
Sometimes
we
it's
shall
more of a
see.
challenge on the pros because
Oh gosh,
they
yes.
have to do the choreography and then they're debating with each other for choreography purposes.
Right, but they also have to deal with the celebrity and what their challenges bring to the table and
Mhm.
find the best way to work with the challenges that everybody has, because they all have their own things and their
Mhm.
pros are so used to them now that once you chuck them into, a group with the others, it does bring a big challenge forth. So I'm excited.
Me too.
It's been a long time. So we shall see.
Yes, I'm excited.
All right. Well, very good. Well, we'll see what next week brings, if anything. And if
Yes.
not, I will see you all again the second week of November.
But really quick, because it was Michael Buble week, I'm just going to promote one more time. I am in the Michael Buble and Derek Huff dance competition for Michael Buble's song Higher. Currently, we have been going between third and fourth place today. So we are so close. We're in the top 50. We made the top 50. The next round is the 20 or top 25. And we're in really good shape for that. But we need your votes. The whole competition goes till November 4th. So please vote one time a day from any email.
Can you pop the link below here on
Yes,
YouTube? Yeah,
I
pop that
will.
link below,
I
friends.
did on the last
and
video as well.
Yes, yes, please, please, please vote. I know I share it every day. Courtney, do not stop sharing it because I literally see it first thing in the morning when I get up and I'm like, oh yeah, you know, then this way I don't forget. But yeah, Courtney's really good about doing that. I try to share it too. And let's get them to the top because they deserve it. If you have not seen this video yet, it is incredible. It is brilliantly choreographed.
Thank you.
So smart in the way that Courtney has portrayed it, and the students are
They're phenomenal.
phenomenal. They are so fantastic.
Yeah, we had a news story that just aired today. So anyone in Rochester, you watch the Spectrum News, it was on there today. So they shared it. So I was very excited, and our school district shared it. So that was exciting with everybody. And so it's so exciting. Just it's exciting.
It is so much excitement surrounding it. So please, 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 if you are watching this, if you are listening in, please click that link below every day between now and November 4th and vote for these kids and for this awesome choreographer over here.
If you have more than one email, you can vote more than once. It's one time a day from every email. So if you have like 3 emails, you can vote 3 times a day.
Yes, do it. Make it happen. All right, everyone. And since I won't see you before then, happy Halloween.
Yes. Have a great, safe Halloween. And then we will be back after at some point. I don't know if it'll be with us. We might have a week off. We'll keep you updated. Just watch our social media.
Sounds good. All right, everyone. Bye.
Good night.